So we're going to start with Epstein. Let's start with Epstein. So for those of you who don't know, which I'm assuming everybody understands, Epstein, the 3 million docs were dropped for Epstein. After the docs were dropped, come to find out, something like over 500 of the victims' names were exposed, and there were even some pictures of victims who were not fully dressed and things of the nature that were out there. The victims' attorneys contacted the Justice Department, was like, yo, you redacted all the names of the pedos, but you didn't redact all the names of the victims. It's, it almost seems backwards here. So they had to pull down that stuff, and then they're redacting. And another thing with the redactions, they are not consistent at all. And like, there were 2 emails that they seemed to put up, the same email. And then one of those emails, they redacted like half the stuff. And then the next email, the same email, it was totally unredacted. So it makes you think, like, why were they redacting this? Like, it's crazy, the redactions. I don't know why they were doing the redactions in such a crazy way, but it doesn't seem like there's any purpose or reason to the redaction.
I have a feeling there's multiple people involved in a left hand, right hand, not knowing what each other's doing. Also, I don't know if this is the Epstein files. I think it was. There were some people who were doing, quote, redactions, and what they were doing is essentially using the highlight tool in a PDF and just making it black. So instead of like yellow highlight of a sentence, it was black highlighting. So somebody would go behind, copy the entire documents, drop it in Notepad, and the words are there. It's magic. So there's proper redactions to maybe some training is in order. That would probably be a good idea for consistency's sake.
Yeah. Well, somebody's already started up already. Anyone still supporting Trump is just like him. Oh, so I'm assuming.
Oh, that's Linda. She's an old hand at that. I mean, Linda is like somebody you can just count on. Sort of like the weather going from the west to the east. If it's against Trump, Linda's there. She's holding the banner and all aboard.
Well, I would say this though: Trump is not doing himself any freaking favors. Like, right? It's just like he's not. All these, they literally ran on release the Epstein files. He hired all the people who said release the Epstein files. They get the Epstein files, and then it's story after story, lie after lie. Like, how many lies can you catch Pam Bondi? It's all on my desk. It's about to be released. It's not going to release everything. Now all of a sudden we got 5 million more documents. I'm talking about, if this is not a cover up, then they are bad at just telling the truth. It's like, how bad could it be? Matter of fact, I'll even challenge people in the audience. If this was Joe Biden, would you believe this was a cover-up? I would say yes. I think it is. I don't know what they're covering up for. I don't know why they're covering up, but it seems like this is a massive cover-up.
Oh, it's a giant problem. It's been handled poorly since the get-go. I mean, it started with the binders in February.
Oh, yeah.
And then Pam Bondi handing out to influencers who are caught, holding up binders, which somebody pointed out most of them aren't really commenting a whole lot right now.
And because they told us that's everything, right? There's everything. But
they've said it's everything multiple times.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden there's 5 million more documents. Like that's either it's a real understatement or they were lying when they said this is everything.
Yeah, I don't know. But let's go ahead. We'll look at one particular case who's in there, and people, have acknowledged there's a relationship, and that's the illustrious Bill Gates and what was going on with him.
Yeah, so Bill Gates, just so everybody understands, Bill Gates has denied for years. He says he did have a relationship with Epstein, but that relationship was, he was running the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They were trying to get rich, and Epstein had a whole bunch of connections when it came to the people who they wanted to give money to, other billionaires. So his argument, Bill Gates was saying that because Epstein had all the connections, he was using Epstein as kind of like this jump off tool where he can get money for the foundation. This guy, can you make the introduction, that type of stuff. So it's philanthropic and professional. But obviously we're going to hear some stuff in this particular Epstein drop that challenges that particular fact. So here's Voidzilla.
Hold on. Also, not only, Bill is making that claim, right? But a very significant point is he was doing a lot of this post 2008. And 2008 is a significant date and time because that is when Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of many of his crimes. So he was a convict, and the guy who has been the richest man in the world in and out, multiple times over the past, decades, probably could afford to vet who he is talking to for the foundation. And he continued talking to the guy again post conviction. That's very important. I'm not saying anything else at this point, but it was post conviction. So he was communicating and working with a known offender.
Yes. This wasn't like it was a secret. But let's play Voidzilla, and he's going to explain to us exactly how Bill Gates is in the file.
All of this came out. Melinda Gates said it was part of the direct cause for the divorce. She said she met Epstein and said he was evil.
He was evil personified.
So you have to understand, this is like Bill Gates' kryptonite. He's one of the richest men on the planet. He's got this huge philanthropy arm. But this relationship with Epstein has been a huge problem for him. And Epstein appears to have known that because in 2013, Bill Gates appears to be distancing himself from Jeffrey Epstein. And Epstein seems to have a problem with that. He says, I assume the dedication to our relation went both ways. Larry has now asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement. Basically, he's got to shut up about his relationship with Bill Gates. And this is where the blackmail starts. And it comes in the form of like, if I were you, I would do X if I were the type of guy that you should be.
But now I want to make it very clear.
Yeah.
Before we get here, Epstein didn't send this email to Bill Gates.
Exactly.
He drafted this email and sent it to himself.
And that's what I wanted to point out. And by the way, CoffeeZilla, that's Voidzilla, is his other channel. That's who we're talking about here, who's talking. Does a good job, but he just went right, he went right into the. Did he say?
Yeah, he did say it.
Okay, as long as he said it earlier. Yeah. But a lot of people are going right into the meat of the email and not starting off with the fact that, okay, it was sent to himself. Now, there is a case to be made, theoretically. I don't know if you know one of the ways that people will send messages to each other in espionage. It's an old school trick. But what that is you have an email account, like a Gmail account or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you type an email and you leave it in drafts, and the other person has the login credentials, and they will log in at their convenience, and they will find the email in the draft or sent to oneself or whatever it is. And then that prevents the communication from going back and forth between the people. I'm not saying this is the case, but that is one possibility of how Epstein could have been passing messages on the down low that had a lot of, bad information, because if he did send it to Bill Gates, it would be logged in different servers on the path. And this would definitely be potentially trackable later on.
He says, in that regard, I suggest I buy you the house that you had your heart set on. In addition to 5 years of severance, we'll buy you out of the investment contract we agreed upon, 30 to 40% of an $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's terms. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. Then he lays out what he has.
Well, so now we get... So, yeah, the expression is crazy. But we do have, it looks like we do have blackmail. That sounds like blackmail, right? If I were you, I would honor our agreement, buy that house. And,
he does, assuming that Bill Gates got it. We've got the problem of, and again, I think Bill Gates is guilty as hell. So don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to really address the evidence directly, like you lawyers do. Yes, that's a lot of blackmail wording and language, but if the recipient doesn't receive it, then there's, what is that?
It's intent to blackmail.
Yeah.
So you can have an uncompleted crime where if you attempt, it's like trying to attempt to kill someone, and you don't have to kill them to commit the crime. So I think this is strong evidence of his commitment to maybe want to blackmail. Now, if that doesn't mean the information is true or not, but just the implication could be enough to say, hey, I'll tell people this, even true or not, and then you'll be destroyed. So that's also part of blackmail. A lot of people think that it has to be true. but it doesn't. And I think if you're in a relationship with a convicted offender of children, then that puts this at another level. You know what I'm saying?
It does, but we have to address, no matter what, if Bill Gates received it, it would be one level. If he never received it or anything, that's another level.
Yeah, definitely. Because he wouldn't know about it.
Right.
On Bill Gates, or what he says he has. Quote, to add insult to injury, you subsequently, with tears in your eyes, implore me to delete the emails I had regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you could surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your...
Now, I'm going to say this. The reason that this part is a little weird to me, because we do have the richest man in the world. He's got doctors, whatever. The doctors come to him, right? It's called concierge medicine. It's where the doctors, you don't go to the doctor's office. The doctor's office comes to you.
Sure.
Now, I'm assuming someone at that level wouldn't have issues getting antibiotics, wouldn't have issues with paying a doctor. Hey, just tell my wife she's got a vitamin deficiency. She got to take these pills, right? Like, there's so many easy ways for him to do it. Why is he talking to Epstein to say, I need you to get me the antibiotics? He's the richest man in the world. He can't get antibiotics. He can't get a doctor to give him a prescription. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it depends on how tied up they were. Like, he would have to shop around for another doctor potentially. Remember, it was the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, so she was running it with him. And I don't know how intertwined their arrangements were. Like, if the same doctor was treating them both, well, that might be kind of a problem. Like, hey, doc, next time you see Melinda, can you do this or that? So he may not be a very skilled felon. And sadly, the person who could answer this immediately is Melinda. If she did, in fact, come down with something that she needed antibiotics for, it would confirm whether something happened or not. But at this point, we actually don't even know if he did give her one. Apparently, he had one, according to this Epstein email.
Yeah. This is insane. It's completely insane. It's like basically laying out in text form, I would give me millions of dollars, and I can't believe you're asking me to delete the message where you were going to give STD medication to your wife without her knowledge. I mean, it's complete. It's crazy. It's just completely obvious what he's doing here. It's just a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Here's what you should do. But now that coming out after Epstein's death, this looks really bad for Gates.
Now, obviously, it does look really bad for Gates. And Gates now had to respond to this because it looks like, hey, Epstein wrote this to himself. Now, I need everybody to understand, this could be totally BS. Epstein could have wrote this to himself.
Yes.
As just to put more pressure on Gates, who may have been distancing. So just this email, a lot of people are going to see.
He did literally say, oh, I see you're distancing. That wouldn't be a good idea, is the tone of the email. So he could have been warming up. This could have been a draft. And he was like, how am I going to deal with it? Apparently, later on, though, Bill Gates did give money to MIT, I guess, on Epstein's behalf or something. So there is a question about that donation. But anyway, continue.
Let's go to, so here's Bill Gates' response to all this. So you guys have heard the thing. So here's Bill Gates.
Bill, is this a response to this, or is this when he got caught being tied to Epstein a few years back?
This is the most recent one. This is him responding 13 hours ago to the release about the wife's issues, about the STD and stuff. So this is interesting.
Rising for his association with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, saying he regrets every minute they spent together.
I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
Gates said he never witnessed or took part in any inappropriate behavior. He insists his relationship with Epstein was focused on raising money for global health.
Every minute I spent with him, I regret, and I apologize that I did that.
Tonight, his ex-wife, Melinda French Gates, says this all brings back memories of, quote, very, very painful times in her marriage.
Whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it, those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me. Well, and I am so happy to be.
Can I point out, and I just got to say it, I mean, this really sucks so hard for Melinda Gates. I mean, she is a victim in this, in my opinion. It's like she's married to a guy, he's a rich guy, whatever else, and he's doing all this crap. And now she's being drug into it about possible STDs and this and that. I mean, you kind of have to feel for her, because I feel like, we should be sympathetic to her as a true victim in the encounter.
Yeah, but I would say she's a victim if what they're saying is true, right? Because relationships end all the time. But
it's happening while they were together, and she's being drug into it. It's his actions that are dragging her into it.
Yeah, well, I think the reason why I'm pushing back on the word victim is because their marriage could have, he could have been banging somebody else, a waitress or whatever. It could have, his relationship with Epstein could be what he's saying, right? It could be nothing, but Epstein was trying to get him. So that's what I'm saying. Is she may not be a victim in that particular sense of the word, but I think, her marriages could have dissolved. So if he did give her an STD and all that stuff is true, then yes, no, I think that is appropriate. So I'm just hedging it, because I don't want to make it seem like we're saying he did this thing and then, where the evidence isn't clear.
Well, I guess I would put it this way, Nate. Let's just do a hypothetical. If a husband goes out and kills some people, and he's still married, he's bringing shame upon that family. He's bringing things on that family, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm going. And I consider the murderer's family to also be victims. Just like his victims, they are also victims, because of an action that person took. I think Bill Gates's actions have brought shame to their relationship and family. And I kind of feel sorry for her. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel sorry, because I don't think it's her fault that the relationship ended. I think it's Bill Gates, and I think it's Bill Gates' relationship with Epstein. But that's just my theory. But again, we'll see, because more stuff is going to be coming out.
Away from all the muck.
The Justice Department's release of more than 3 million pages of documents making headlines around the world. In London tonight, new questions for the royal family as these pictures emerge of the former Prince Andrew.
Now, they used to with CPR. I'm sure it's perfectly normal.
But somebody was saying that, somebody's defending him, saying that this was like a CPR thing, and it's not, fully clothed. It seems like
it actually does look like CPR. I'm gonna because I took CPR training. I don't know about you.
It does look like CPR. Because what they tell you to do is bend over and tap, but they usually tell you to tap on the shoulders. Oh, you're okay. That they're in another country, so they do it differently.
Over a young woman on the floor.
Good morning, Your Majesty. Will the royal family help the Epstein investigation?
So that's with that. So Bill Gates. So do you think, with the Bill Gates scenario, do you think he was being? It looks like to me Epstein obviously wanted to blackmail him.
Yes,
but I don't know if the information that Epstein was putting forth that he emailed to himself is true, and I think that's kind of where we're at with this, right?
They had a relationship. That's proven. And as I said, Bill Gates had a relationship with Epstein post-conviction. That is proven.
Uh-huh.
I think there's enough that's proven that Bill Gates should have problems anyway. I don't know the STDs. I'm not going to go all the way there yet, because we have a problem of a potential blackmail, but not a proven blackmail, because if he intended to blackmail, okay, but unless you show that he did blackmail, I think that would substantiate, if Bill Gates, came out and said, hey, I was blackmailed by this guy, and, Epstein was alive and there's a prosecution, then you would say, yeah, look at this. He even drafted that. And that would support the claim. But we have a problem here where we have an email that didn't get sent to the guy that technically didn't come across. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just noise, but I do think that there's enough problems already that Bill Gates should be suffering, period, just because of his relationship, his carelessness, and his actions in dealing with a known convicted perpetrator. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's totally fair, and I think that makes sense.